Okay, who else bracket is already busted? That's what I get for picking Akron to go on a run. March Madness is in full effect on the NCAA tournament hardwood courts, and here at the LakePoint Sports Baseball Village, we have our own March Madness for you with the Prep Baseball March Madness tournament all weekend long here. We've got a game for you today between the Georgia Jackets and Chicago White Sox Ace from the 14U division of this tournament. I'm Cory McCartney, and we'll be taking you up to our 10:15 first pitch. I'll be joined along the way by Prep Baseball Georgia's Avery Hunt and our own Grayson Rosen. So have an exciting game set for you. But when I say that LakePoint Sports and these baseball fields in particular are the stage for some of the best talent in the nation, that's no hyperbole. This summer's MLB draft, which will be taking place down the street at Truist Park, home of the Atlanta Braves, it's going to be full of players who have put their talents on display on these fields. Among them could be Forsyth Central's Josh Gibbs, a Georgia signee and one of the nation's top-ranked shortstops. Here is Josh Gibbs as we mic'd him up during the recent Georgia Dugout Club tournament.
All right, Josh, be a leader.
All right. All right, those are 3, 1, 2, 3, go! My boy! Let's go, let's go! That might have been the signal. Might have been the signal. Poppy, Poppy. Oh! We had him. He bobbled. We had him right there. Huge secondary. Had him with the bat pick, the Poppy, the signal Poppy. I like the shout out, Cali Befchetti. I've always wanted to play outfield. I wonder what my outfield field would be. I've always wanted to test it. What just happened? I'm not gonna let him confused. I said balk, but he hit it and he's out. Yeah, what? What just happened? Think about a sneeze. Bless me. Gosh. There we go. Who?
The Von Daddy.
Cares.
You're just not
It's because y'all are sophomores, bro. Y'all just don't understand
We
it.
were saying that in 6th grade.
Bro, y'all don't get it, bro. Y'all don't get it, bro. You're changing your whole personality right now, bro. You're acting so much different, bro. Lock in on the game, bro. Good boy. Can't wait for playoffs again this year. As long as we make it, I'll have to say that's the best time of the year. For sure, it's warm outside. Get out of school super early. And the atmosphere is just great. No.
Outside.
No. I wanted to swing at all of those. Dang, all those fastballs I wanted to hit. Not no more strikes. Oh, I'm out of breath. Dang. Just swung 3-0. Oh my God.
Get out, ball.
Nick Roberts just hit a bomb. No, I ain't gonna lie. That might be one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Put the frog on. Put the frog on. There we go. So this is a catcher I was talking about earlier. Poppy.
Poppy. Yeah, Poppy.
We got our secret signals for the back pick.
For the back, I know, I saw him.
Yeah, so every time you said Poppy, you know what's coming.
Let's go, Poppy!
Hey, da la cámara.
If we're approved, just put it
Poppy.
Confío en ti.
I don't know what he's saying.
Papi pa'l war!
I don't know what he's saying, but all right.
On-field action here at LakePoint Sports is just part of what we consider a best-in-class experience for players, coaches, and parents, and that includes access to testing and player performance data that is redefining evaluation and recruiting. Curve Test Centers gives athletes an unprecedented look at how they measure up through its ball, body, and brain approach to testing. Let's go inside the Curve Test Center.
We're here at LakePoint Sports, the site of the first Curve Test Center. There will be lots of Curve Test Centers, but this will always be the first. And why are we here? Here for a couple of reasons. One is about the effort players are spending trying to get coaches to notice them. The effort coaches are spending trying to figure out who's actually any good. The poor parents who are sitting there saying, where's my kid headed? This is the answer for all that.
Everyone wants to be seen, right? Sometimes what can be seen is data. So it's hard to get in front of coaches at all these programs at once, or even the school you really want to go to. So using data helps us a ton. And as long as it's reliable and there's something that can give us better information with the small sample size is what we're looking for.
Test your athletic, cognitive, and baseball skills with TrackMan, Proteus, and more. Visit at the Bubble or sign up now at curvetestcenter.com. Don't miss this chance to level up your game. Again, we have a matchup for you between Georgia Jackets and Chicago White Sox. Ace coming down from Illinois to play in this event. You see them getting loose. We have an expected first pitch at 10:15 a.m., so we're going to cut out the audio portion and just let you watch Chicago White Sox Ace go through their pregame machinations. We'll rejoin you just before first pitch. Just give me here we go. All right. We are in the action now. Chicago White Sox ace Georgia Jackets March Madness 14U action. Cory McCartney along with Avery Hunt. And got another good one today. It's not March Madness as you're used to hearing March Madness, but we have some excitement here on the Baseball Village here at LakePoint Sports. Avery, always good to have you in, man. I know you came down and you said your bracket is gone, but not forgotten.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that they get through those first 2 days and reality sets in.
Yeah, I mean, I still got both teams. My Final Four is still intact.
Okay.
So we're not completely dead, but we're, as long as Florida and Duke, as a Georgia alum, as bad as that hurts me to say, but as long as those two teams continue to dominate like they've dominated, my bracket's got a chance. But
well, it's interesting. We're talking basketball, and we've got Chicago White Sox ace, and of course Michael Jordan at one point suited up for the Chicago White Sox, more specifically the Barons at the minor league system before going back and continuing to wreak havoc on the NBA. But we're going to have a good one for you today. Chicago White Sox ace always puts on a show when they bring their teams down here this time of the year, and they will lead things off with the incredibly awesome name Deval DeSavo III. And I will apologize to Delville's family if I am butchering the pronunciation there, but a DD the third stepping in, and he will face off against Miles Rahm, going through his little pregame routine there as he sending up some hopes to the Lord as he's stepping on the mound here against Chicago White Sox ace. And DeSavo will be followed by P.J. Hester, and then we'll see Sean Merrill. DeSavo, Sandridge Elementary, 2029, fourth prep baseball event for him. It's always interesting to see that these guys have already played in 3-4 prep baseball events coming all the way down from Chicago. But Chicago White Sox State does a great job every year of bringing down a whole bunch of teams and giving these guys the kind of exposure that they get early in the year in these events.
Absolutely. We've seen them obviously in the past, and this weekend they're out in full force. Their 11s and 12s were rolling early this morning, and now we get to see their 14U group. So always good to have these guys come down, especially to kind of find some warmer weather, even though we don't know how good of a job they did today.
The thing that they always look great.
Yeah.
They step on the field in those White Sox uniforms, and man, it's just it's hard to beat. And they've certainly been a program that's had a lot of success, and we're going to see DeSavo draw a leadoff walk here against Rahm. They've put a number of guys into the major league levels. They've had guys going on to the collegiate level to play, and really an interesting program because, you think about inner city Chicago where a lot of these kids come from, getting them out and getting them exposure and getting them to play in these bigger tournaments and events and in places like LakePoint Sports, I think is huge for these guys in terms of, providing the opportunity to lengthen their baseball careers.
Absolutely, do a great job, obviously with development and obviously with exposure. Like I said, always a pleasure to have those guys down, and they're awesome to work with and easy to work with. So that makes my life a lot better.
Yeah, Sir Jameson Jones was the guy that was one of the big players that they've had in the past few years. He's now at Oklahoma State. He was invited to Super 60 last year in Chicago. So spent some time with Sir Jameson here and also in Chicago. He was on that Chicago White Sox ace team that got to play, and that was P.J. Hester ropes that one to the left field, but it will be hauled in for the first out as DeSavo makes his way back to first. Nice arm there out of the left field to nearly get the runner. But Sir Jameson Jones was on the Chicago White Sox ace team that played at the Field of Dreams. So they were there ahead of the first Field of Dream game where the White Sox played in. They played the day before that, so they actually hit those fields before the big leaguers did. And then they were in the stands during the Sunday night ESPN game with the White Sox. So
where Tim Anderson hit the walk-off
That's
home.
right. Yep. Yeah, those guys were all in hand for that.
Last time we heard from Tim Anderson, but
well, yeah, one of the weirder. If you think about two moments that exemplify a baseball career, getting into a fight and then hitting a home run into a cornfield seems to be two oddities. So P.J. Hester pops out to left, and here's Sean Merrill from St. Rita. We had St. Rita down here a few years ago as well.
In 2 weeks, we'll have another good presence from the Chicago area at our spring break event where those guys come down every year.
Yep.
We'll have Lincoln Way West and Homewood Flossmoor returners, and then we'll have Lincoln Way East that is right down the road. Saw this week they have a lefty that's up to 100, so that's looking forward to seeing that
That's
one.
going to be awesome. And unfortunately, as you mentioned to us before, Lincoln Way West and East, because they're in the same district, they can't play each other here, but they can still face off like the Sharks and the Jets from West Side Story and snap in front of each other and talk some trash, but we will not see them in action against one another. Talking to Connor Essenberg from Lincoln Way West is now on his way to he was the Kansas State signee, but he's now, I believe, going to Louisville. He's going to be here for that one. He's excited, so he told me he's really pumped to get back down here and play another set of games down here.
Yeah, really.
Connor Essenberg's going to Kentucky. He's actually probably going to light me up for saying that he's going to rival Louisville, but yeah, he's actually signing with Kentucky now. Nunez pops out, and that's hauled in by the third baseman for the second out. So see Julian Nunez pop out, now 2 down.
Love how the first day of spring was on Thursday, and it is now 45 degrees and windy.
That's right. It's just a tease.
Yeah.
It's by name alone. Judson Carter now at the plate. University of Chicago Laboratory School 2029. Bounces in front of the catcher. Unique thing about the Chicago school system is you don't necessarily just go to the high school that's close to your house. You can actually go to different ones that are set up for different career paths. So it's always an interesting wrinkle in how they kind of push these guys along through their high school careers. But University of Chicago Laboratory. So do you study labs?
Yeah,
is it
I'm
a
assuming
science
that's
school?
a science focus. Granted, I'm from an area of the state of Georgia where we had one high school, and that was your option.
That's right. Well, beakers and Bunsen tubes are in vogue at the University of Chicago Laboratory School. Dribbler foul.
I always love telling people, like, oh, how many high schools were in your county? We just had one. What, so you guys just all went to the same school? Exactly what that means.
I believe in the school system where I'm from in Ohio, we had 4 high schools in our county. Catcher in that secondary position, waiting for him to run, and that one's going to miss glove side. Count now 2-2.
Yep, 1 high school, and we're still in the smallest classification in the state.
Wow.
So the big city. It's a little bit of a change up living here now. But
yeah, I was going to say, how long did it take you to get used to the traffic and used to everything that comes with LakePoint and Metro Atlanta? And we're going to watch Carter go down on strikes. We'll get a little bit more of the life path of Avery Hunt when we continue. You're watching March Madness. We'll be back from LakePoint Sports.
So yeah, outrage is trending. Our feed's stirring us up, splitting us up. What if we came out from behind our walls and keyboards just for a sec and just go yard, front yard? Come out bagging, jumping, check on that Johnsonville feed. Let our individual flavors blend together. Yes, block nobody, block party. Keep it juicy.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Our first look at Georgia Jackets at the plate, and they will send up Lubker, Boland, and Miles Rahm, who we just saw on the mound. Meanwhile, Chicago White Sox ace, let's see who's on the mound for them to start things off. It's going to be Brady Shehorn. Shehorn, nice breaking ball there. So again, we'll see Max Luber, Parker Boland, and Miles Rahm will lead things off here for Georgia Jackets in the bottom of the first. You always have to bring up what's going on in the Champions Center, which you'll see in the background when the cameras pull back a little bit. This weekend, it's a state meet for gymnastics. So if you want to go over and get yourself a new leotard, that's going to be your stopping point all weekend long.
I think I ended up there picking something up last year when that was going on, and just fully amazed that people can do those things when it comes to gymnastics, because flips and all that fun stuff was never in my forte of it's never in my arsenal of things that I was able to do. So
well, I always wonder when you get to the point where you're like, yes, I can attempt this.
Yeah,
you know,
braver than I am, I'll tell you that. I won't do a flip into a pool, much less where there's a chance I land on my neck.
Max Lubker at the plate, DePaul Catholic 2029. First prep baseball event for him. That one's going to go foul. We have a number of these Georgia Jackets. We're used to seeing Georgia Jackets here in these fields, but this team in particular filled with a number of players who are making their debuts in prep baseball events, but we certainly know with the proximity to LakePoint Sports for the Alpharetta stomping grounds for Georgia Jackets that they will certainly be back. Man, you know, wicked breaking ball out of the hands of Shehorn as he goes down on strikes. 6'3", 175-pounder from St. Ignatius. First prep baseball event for Brady, but certainly an arm to watch. You got to like the mechanics, got to like the frame. Certainly a guy at 6'3", 175 pounds. You could think about adding some weight to that.
Especially, you know, first breaking ball of the day when it's 50 degrees outside is an absolute hammer. So,
yeah.
You know, showing a lot of good traits here early in this start, obviously.
A lot of composure. You always think about in this age in particular, as guys kind of find their way into the secondary stuff, is how do they move on the mound?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Shehorn's certainly a guy that's an athletic mover on the mound. Parker Boland, Forsyth Central, 2029 at the plate. Rips that one down the right side. Shortstop, second baseman has it, throws over to first for the out. There is a shortstop moving, but he's not the guy with the ball. Had it momentarily as they get it back to Shehorn. You can't go around the horn if you can't get it done. We'll drop there by third base, but maybe next time.
Got a little quick there.
Yeah.
A little ahead of himself.
Yeah, it's all right. It's early. No one's watching, right?
No. We're good.
Well, I say that. We don't want no one to watch, but I'm just saying we're just telling him it's okay.
No judgment.
That's right. Miles Rahm, who started off on the mound for Georgia Jackets, now at the plate with 2 down. Alpharetta 2029. Making life easy on Shehorn here to start things off in the first. 1-0 bounces away. All right, so we mentioned a little bit with the March Madness NCAA tournament going on. You said your bracket's toast. Got some good games today. I think the one everyone's going to be talking about, Arkansas, St. John's, Pitino, Calipari. Who you got?
Depends if St. John's can make shots. I think Pitino has said, like, openly, like, hey, we're a good basketball team. We just have to make shots. My only fear with them is they're going to run into somebody that, you see in the tournament from time to time just gets extremely hot from three. And I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I like St. John's. I think, don't judge me, but I think Patino's a better coach. So
it's almost like I was thinking about this on the drive up here today. When you think about Patino and Calipari, it's like, which one's less sleazy? And I say that, it's like if you're a kid they're recruiting, those are two guys with a lot of charisma, and there's a reason why they've had the number of guys that they've had that have gone on to immense success in college and in the NBA. But NCAA violations seem to be in the rearview mirror for both of them. And that one is popped up down the left side, and third baseman has it, and he will make up for the drop on the going around the horn, and he's got himself the inning ending out. We'll have plenty more talk about baseball in the NCAA tournament when we come back. This is our version of March Madness from LakePoint Sports.
Grilling is an art. Don't forget to add sausage, Picasso. Keep it juicy.
Jump to the jam, boogie woogie jam slam, bust the dialect. I'm the man in command. Come, flow with the sounds of the mighty.
Back here, March Madness, Miles Rahm back on the mound for Georgia Jackets. We head to the second inning, a scoreless first. So we were talking Arkansas St. John's as kind of that big game for the third day of full tournament action. We have, of course, had the first four leading into the madness of Thursday and Friday. We were talking Arkansas St. John's. I kind of found this interesting conversation during the broadcast last night with Ernie Johnson and Barkley and Kenny Smith and Clark Kellogg about how coaches will build teams to win their league, but can that same way to build a team work out in the tournament? So if you're like St. Mary's and your whole thing is like, we're going to beat Gonzaga and we're going to win our conference, are you built to win in the tournament?
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of like having that balance, which I think makes the SEC team so dangerous, just because they bring these electrifying guards, they have depth, they're battle tested throughout the year. You got to win each game as opposed to just being like, we're going to focus. We're built to beat this one team.
Yeah, and I think the SEC this year especially, like in years past, it's like, okay, you're probably going to have to beat either Florida, Kentucky, one of those two teams to win the league, right? And it's like this year, I mean, they got 13 teams in.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Hand up. I'll be the one to say I could have lived without Georgia being in it. Super cool that we made it, but that was the quickest I've ever turned off a basketball game on Thursday. So
Santana Bibbs at the plate, a little bit of a roller. Shortstop throws on the run. They will get him to ground out for the first out. Nice job at shortstop there, showing off the ability to make a really tough throw on the run, but they get Santana Bibbs for the first out.
Looks like we're going to have a conversation whether that ball was foul in the box here.
Well, that'll delay the AB for Savion Cisney, who is coming from the on-deck circle, and after that, it's Mateo Blakes.
So, we are going to have the foul ball in the box there, so he'll come back.
All right, so Santana Bibbs going to get another shot and more opportunity to talk about this 2029, playing in his fourth prep baseball event. Yeah, ugly game for Georgia the other night against Gonzaga. I was definitely thinking about you in that one and how long you actually forced yourself to turn in. Man, when you see a number 35 standing in a Chicago White Sox uniform,
it's like a good build, too.
Yeah, very Frank Thomas-esque. Miles Rahm, he's not sending a message there, is he? I hope that one I'm just kidding. That one got away from him, I'm sure, as he's continuing this AB against Santana Bibbs.
If you're Bibbs, you got to be like, hey, man, look, I just hit one off my foot.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's work away.
Yeah. That one again is in play. Got him on the run. Right fielder has it. And now there's one down here in the second. And that will bring up Savion Sisney. Sisney, first baseman, third baseman. He's listed at 5'9", 190.
Is that the little hurt?
Yeah,
Is that what we're going
there you
with?
go. That one's going foul. I don't know if you can say that, though, because Frank Thomas actually has a son playing for IMG right now.
Okay, well.
Yeah, Shooter Hunt and I talked about him a couple weeks ago. He's a lefty, but, man, looks just like his dad. I remember acquiring the Frank Thomas rookie card of him in the Auburn uniform. It was such a weird baseball card because it's like a weird play at first base. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but it's like such a strange picture. Like, I always thought, like, when you look back at, like, some of the photos that they use for guys, is, man, get out of the way of that one. Some of the photos that they use for the guys, if they're using, like, pictures of them playing for, like, Team USA or high school or college, and it's like, really, that's the best you could do?
That's the best photo we got.
Yeah. You almost rather them use the headshots than some of these other ones. Sisney puts that one in play. Center fielder loses his hat but catches the ball, and now there's two down. Mateo Blakes now steps in. Fourth prep baseball event for him. He's also been to a couple prep baseball showcases. Pitcher that runs it up to nearly 70. But he's got exit velos of 72-1, so we'll see if this 5'7", 127-pounder can make something happen. 3 pitches so far this inning for Rahm have kind of gone that direction.
Got to keep your head on a swivel in the right-hand
right.
batter's box today.
I bring up that Frank Thomas card. What was the crown jewel for you when you were collecting baseball cards? What was the one that you had to set up on your nightstand at night because you're like, I cannot believe I got this thing?
This is going to be a weird one. Marcus Giles, his rookie card. He was my favorite player growing up because I was a small second baseman, and like Marcus Giles was the greatest baseball player that ever lived in my eyes. So that's one I still have. I have it in my office at home, sitting on the shelf behind me. So. Everybody picks the big guys. I'm in.
There you go.
I have him, and I have if you remember this name, I'll give you a lot of credit. Paul Janisch. The 200 hitting shortstop that the Braves had there for 2 months. Yeah, have those two. I always just pick random, middle of the road players, and those were my two guys. So
2 strikes here now on Blake's. I was a big, before your time, but Eric Davis to play for the Cincinnati Reds. He was Acuna before Acuna, the defensive swing, since that went back foul.
Held the bat out like in front of him.
Yeah,
Is that,
yeah. He was a bad man. So that was my guy, and had a 1988 Topps card. My son Jack and I were actually just looking through these a couple days ago. That was one of my favorite. I don't know why I like that card so much, but absolutely did. Blake's put that in foul. Shortstop looking smooth again there as he makes the throw to first to bring an end to the inning. We'll be back scoreless. You're watching March Madness from LakePoint Sports.
Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next.
If you don't pick one.
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete in all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf. because we're busy women. We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again? Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
We are back as we're on to the bottom of the second inning in this March Madness matchup between Chicago White Sox ace and Georgia Jackets. Shehorn back on the mound for Chicago White Sox ace. He's going to be facing off against Harrison Short to start off for Georgia Jackets. Short will be followed by Ethan Tinker. And then we'll get a look at Will Chapman. After Will Chapman comes my entry for this game's contestant for Best Action Hero name, and that would be Tex Leonard.
That's a good one.
2-1 misses high. When's the last time you seen anybody under the age of like 60 years old named Tex?
It's been a while. It's a good name, though.
It is a great name.
It's a good one.
I was thinking like Tex Winters, you know, who was obviously on staff with Phil Jackson in Chicago and Los Angeles as the guy behind the guy in that triangle offense, and Shehorn's got to get out of the way of that one. Man, wicked play at short. That was fantastic to get the out. Man, what an athletic mover when you talk about that trait. Man, that was fantastic work at shortstop to get that out.
Really good play there, and first base helped him out with a good stretch there. So excellent play to start the inning off. Seeing some good pitching and defense here to start this ball game.
Ethan Tinker now steps in. Tinker, Cambridge 2029. Swing, a miss, strike one, 76.2 out of the hands of Shehorn. It's been an impressive pitcher so far. You can see that wind just ripping his jersey. The 0-1. Has the occasional moment like that where it kind of gets away from him on the release, but by and large, he's been dialed in.
We've seen both guys so far be filling up the strike zone. Just they have opposite misses. One's up and in, one's low and away. So they can just continually meet in the middle there. Will we get a really good matchup?
Skies this one. Who's got it? Second baseman does. Now 2 down in the inning. They're just doing that to mess with Blue, right? I mean, he doesn't know which way to look. They can miss left. They can miss right. So Tinker skies out. Will Chapman now steps in. Chapman, Creekview, another Creekview. He's a 2028. 6'3", 165-pounder. Shooting guard. So you didn't have McNeese going long, huh?
I didn't. I had Clemson making a good run. So Clemson and Ole Miss were like my two.
Okay.
Ole Miss looked really good yesterday, but
I had two Cinderellas, McNeese, which I got, and then Akron. I thought Akron was going to. They had some good guard play in the MAC tournament. Got a little bit too enamored with them, and they just got routed last night.
I had quite a few texts during the Georgia game, like, "Is your bracket busted?" It was like, no. I knew when we got Gonzaga first round, like, hey, dude, it's over. Like, just miss the plane. Like, let's just move on.
Chapman sends that one foul.
Kyle Coletta, our
beloved
employee.
Nice name drop.
I told him 5 days ago, and we talked yesterday. I was like, hey, man, don't pick Georgia. He was like, oh, you're just doing the thing where you're negative. And I was like, no, like, don't pick Georgia. And he called me yesterday. He's like, I should have listened. And I was like, look, man, I tried to tell you. But
well, biggest lesson from the first 2 days of the tournament is that Cooper Flagg is back, and Duke looks pretty much unbeatable.
My father is a big fan of that. He's a Duke basketball fan.
So Duke not getting the #1 overall seed obviously is tied into Cooper Flagg's health and not knowing what he's going to look like. But Auburn losing in the SEC tournament and still getting the overall #1 I thought was peculiar. But it's almost like they did Duke a favor, you know, by not making them the overall #1. So maybe a little bit easier path as they kind of avoid that designation. But Flagg just looks fantastic, and Duke just rolled in their opener. So they're going to be, I think, certainly the team everyone's going to be scared of, as Chapman's going to draw himself a 2-out walk.
Can you imagine, we were kind of talking about this before we came back from break, Duke, like, they didn't have the one and done, like, who would be on Duke's roster?
Oh, man, yeah.
Like, you have Bancaro and Flag on the same team.
Yeah.
And, like, just those two guys. Like,
well, I'm all about guys, and certainly we see so many players at the high school level in baseball that will go on, or if they don't, obviously you need to wait that time period before you can be drafted that second go-around out of college. But I think it's certainly the basketball side. I don't think the game's as strong as it could be at the NBA level if these guys just had a little bit longer, because how many guys get that early draft pick and they get into the league and it's too much for them? And you've got the G League, but if you had them have to stay 2-3 years in college, how much better the college game would be and how much more polished they'd be by the time they got to the NBA.
yeah, can you just imagine the college product if the one and done wasn't a thing?
Tex Leonard's that one foul. Man, we're seeing all kinds of crazy athletic plays here as that one is hauled in. It was almost a little bit of a Jumpman Jordan move there, but we're through two. Avery Hunt's going to step out. We're going to have a pitching change here in the booth. You're watching a scoreless March Madness. We'll be back from LakePoint Sports.
We're here at LakePoint Sports, the site of the first Curve Test Center. There will be lots of Curve Test Centers, but this will always be the first. And why are we here? Here for a couple of reasons. One is if you think about the effort players are spending trying to get coaches to notice them, the effort coaches are spending trying to figure out who's actually any good, the poor parents who are sitting there saying, where's my kid headed? This is the answer for all that.
Everyone wants to be seen, right? Sometimes what can be seen is data. So it's hard to get in front of coaches at all these programs at once, or even the school you really want to go to. So using data helps us a ton. And as long as it's reliable and there's something that can give us better information with the small sample size is what we're looking for.
Curve Test Centers is redefining player and performance data when it comes to evaluation and recruiting. Test your athletic, cognitive, and baseball skills with TrackMan, Proteus, and more. Visit at the Bubble here on the LakePoint Sports campus or sign up now at curvetestcenter.com. Don't miss this chance to level up your game. Our action continues here onto the third inning of a scoreless matchup here between Chicago White Sox ace and Georgia Jackets in the March Madness. Cory McCartney back with you, now joined by Grayson Rosen as he takes over for Avery Hunt. Miles Rahm is on the mound again for Georgia Jackets. A little bit further down the line here on this Chicago White Sox ace lineup as Julian Dominguez leads things off, and we'll see the last hitter in the order, Jimmer Hayes. Jimmer is a bit of a throwback name there for NCAA tournaments. You think about Jimmer Fredette and what he did in the past for BYU.
Yeah, I thought it was crazy that the March Madness tournament's going on this weekend, and we've got Jimmer.
That's right. I love it. Well, if anybody is primed to have a moment, one shining moment, as they have to say, potentially be Jimmer Hayes, but we'll see if he's got that in store. But so far, Miles Rahm has looked strong on the mound for Georgia Jackets. We are still waiting our first hit of this game here in the third inning. Things have just kind of rolled by. The way things started for Rahm, allowing some guys to get on as he goes down on strikes via the free pass. I thought maybe things might go awry, but he's kind of dialed things in. On the other side of it, we've seen Brady Shehorn look really strong for Chicago White Sox ace. A game at this point, I mean, unequivocally dominated by pitching.
Yeah, definitely. And I think on top of that, also the defenses look pretty sound. Georgia Jackets tracked down some really good fly balls in that first inning to wrap things up there. And then we saw some good plays in the infield from Chicago White Sox ace. So both sides flashing some leather, too.
Miss for Rahm to start things off against the aforementioned Jimmer Hayes, playing in his first prep baseball event. 5'8", 135-pound, 2029. Someone's going foul. A lot of basketball talk when Avery was in here. I know you said you're not a guy who pays a lot of attention to college basketball, which I find alarming on a number of levels. But your national champion is still very much in play.
Yes. Auburn still in play. Everything else, not so much.
So if you don't watch a lot of college basketball, but I'm sure you were all too aware that Cooper Flagg had gotten hurt.
Yes.
Maybe there was some thought of like, what's he going to look like for the tournament? Knowing what we know yesterday, after he just looked insane in that dominant win for Duke, would you have changed your bracket?
I think everything that's happened would have made me change my bracket with how bad it's gone.
Okay. Well, the final team standing, would you have still gone Auburn, considering the fact that they lost in the SEC tournament and Flagg is back and looks great?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. I was low on Duke because of Cooper Flagg's injury, but, I mean, when it comes to a March Madness bracket, what I'm looking for is fun, and fun is upsets. I don't know if did we have like anybody past a 12 seed win a game? No 13s, 14s, 15s, or 16s won. I don't think.
Well, McNeese. What was McNeese?
Oh, sorry,
State?
McNeese.
Yeah,
Were they
State.
a 12? Was that a 12-5? I know Liberty lost to Oregon.
McNeese is a 12, so
Okay.
they've got they're
I think we
playing
had two
Purdue a 4
12s.
today.
2 12s won. Colorado State won, which they were favored over Memphis, which was surprising. But I guess Memphis had an injury.
Yeah,
they
did. They had an early injury.
Yeah.
He missed most of the season.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily a college basketball guy. Right now I'm still watching college baseball.
I'm huge into college basketball when we get to the conference tournaments and then the NCAA tournament. I'll kind of pick here and there. Like if a guy like Flagg looks like he's going to be the guy, maybe you get some looks at him early on, and we'll sporadically watch stuff. But I'm not somebody who's sitting down and watching the college basketball version of Game Day on a Saturday. Of course, we're in here a lot on Saturdays doing these games, and then kind of just going through. Because if you could get obsessive with college basketball to the point where you can watch games that start at noon, and then you could probably watch some duration of 30, 40 games by the 10 o'clock window when they start to roll into those West Coast games. And that's the beauty of college football is they're going to have a rundown here.
Really interesting.
Yeah, get a Hayes in a rundown. Does he get back? Oh, they got him out of the base pass. So Jimmer Hayes caught in a pickle. It's not what we wanted to see out of our quasi-March Madness hero. So Jimmer Hayes is out. Devil DeSavo, the third, is back on the mound, the plate, now with 2 outs.
That was really well played by Georgia Jackets. I mean, it was pretty clear that the runner wasn't fully committed to stealing that base, and it was a strong throw down. He would have been out for sure if he'd even gotten there. He slowed down pretty quickly, but well played, especially by the first baseman there for Georgia Jackets.
Savo pops out seemingly to second base. Whoa, he has to go back and get that one, but he does, in fact, haul it in, and that's going to bring another end to another scoreless half inning. We'll be back here watching March Madness from LakePoint Sports. Let's do our own commercial reads.
Yeah, we might.
I will say with the pickle, I think we could bring in Famous Dave's. Like they make really good spicy pickles, and we could be like, this pickle brought to you by Famous Dave's.
Yeah, we can get a pickle replay.
I like that.
We can run back every time somebody gets into a rundown out on the base pass. That'd be fun.
All right, so Brady Shehorn back on the mound. I think we're going to stick with you through this commercial break.
Grilling is an art. Don't forget to add sausage, Picasso. Keep it juicy.
Jump to the jam, boogie woogie jam slam, bust the dialect. I'm the man in command. Come, flow with the sounds of the mighty.
Once again, getting a look at Brady Shehorn on the mound for Chicago White Sox Ace. He's got himself a couple strikeouts, 2 walks, and of course, like his counterpart, Miles Rahm, no hits on the ledger for him right now as we now sit in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Yeah, interested to see kind of who breaks through first in this game. I mean, we are flying by as it stands in the bottom of the 3rd already, but who's going to put them together, and really how's it going to come? I mean, we've seen Chicago White Sox shown that they can get on base, and Georgia Jackets have been putting quite a few balls in play. It's just who's going to get it done.
Charlie Blanchard is at the plate to start things off here for Georgia Jackets. He will be followed by Matthew Maldonado and then Joey Gonzalez. Then it's back to the top of the order in Loopker if we get that far. Had a conversation in here with Avery Hunt earlier. We were talking baseball cards because, man, they got a Savion Cisney for Chicago White Sox Ace, looking very Frank Thomas-esque, and we were talking about Frank Thomas's rookie card of him in the Auburn uniform as a card that I know a lot of guys in my generation, that was one that we coveted. So what was the coveted card for you when you were coming up and you were still collecting baseball cards?
I mean, just as a Braves fan, I was always looking for Braves cards. So that was just kind of the natural thing. I think I remember, pretty sure I have a Jeff Francoeur rookie card laying around.
Yeah.
Always a favorite of mine. And then, like, obviously, when you go to, like, the more recent years, I mean, that Paul Skeens card that just sold is one that, like, everybody was talking about.
Question. So the Paul Skeens card sold in auction for 1.1.
Yeah.
So the Pirates had made this insane offer to the family of the kid that pulled the card. And it obviously includes, seats behind home plate for the next 30 years. You get to hang out with, with Paul Skeens' girlfriend in a suite. You get to bring your friends out and do a baseball game on the field. And do we have our first hit? I think we're going to have a bouncer to second for the first out. You get all this stuff, right? Does that same thing still hold for the person who bought it? Or was it only for the person who first acquired it?
I think it's forever for whoever got it first.
So they don't want it anymore, or would they now?
Probably not. I mean, it definitely, I'm not saying it loses value, but it's not as like, why offer it? I mean, the guy already paid $1.1 million. You're probably not going to just give him a bunch of stuff for paying $1 million to get the card. It's different when, like, I believe it was like a young kid that pulled the card from California too.
Yeah, yep.
But I think as well, I mean, a lot of people said this at the start, and I kind of agree with the decision there of, like, you couldn't pay me to watch Pirates baseball that much. So I think it's fair. I mean, I'd go, they've got 3 good pitchers in that rotation that are worth watching and some guys coming up. But, I mean, there's not a lot of people excited about Pirates baseball right now.
I think but Major League Baseball is a hard sell like that too, right? To say, like, you're going to have, especially a mid-market team that doesn't necessarily invest into it. If you told somebody they had, as that one's going back foul, if you had New York Yankee tickets behind home plate for the next 30 years, and not only do you think, the parents are obviously thinking about, okay, we live in California, but you could still generate some funds off of selling some of those tickets. But I think you would also have to have, in whatever negotiations take place, you say, do we get postseason tickets too? Because if that ever happens,
that's true.
That's a lot more valuable.
It's a franchise that's trending in the right direction.
They are. Sure. A lot of exciting players. Obviously, Skeens, O'Neal Cruz is certainly someone that people get excited about. But it's you'd almost rather have Steelers tickets for the next 30 years.
Yeah. As a kid from Georgia, I'm excited to see the potential of Tamar Johnson and Bubba Chandler coming up.
Yeah, I should have brought up Tamar Johnson, a guy that we saw here multiple times at LakePoint Sports, playing travel and playing with Mays High School. Getting a look at Matthew Maldonado, who's now at the plate for Georgia Jackets, a Denmark 2028. First prep baseball event for him. You mentioned this to Avery. It's odd to see that most of these White Sox players are in like their 4th prep baseball event, and almost all these Georgia Jacket players are in their 1st because we're so used to seeing these guys here so often. But I would assume by the end of the summer they will have a ton of games. Bless you. We're bringing we're in an enclosed space. So excited about that one. I'm just kidding. No, we passed the flu around here on our staff last month. So
yeah, hopefully that's gone.
Yeah, Matthew Maldonado fouls that off.
I think it's just the The official, what is it now, the second day of spring?
Yeah, there you go. Hay fever
Yeah.
stepping in a little bit.
I do think that it was a bold move by me this morning. Now I'm feeling good about it, but shorts this morning was crazy by me.
Well, uh-oh. Is
come
that
on.
dropping?
Yeah,
oh, we got
there
our
it is.
first hit of the game off the bat of Matthew Maldonado here with 1 out in the bottom of the third. And now we finally have some traffic on the base pass once again. That'll bring up Joey Gonzalez with a runner on.
We'll get the pinch runner for Maldonado.
A nice job of roping that into center field for a base hit. And now Roswell 2029, Joey Gonzalez again. Another player in his first prep baseball event. See if he can make something happen here with 1 out in the third and a runner at first.
Yeah, and that was a good piece of just passive hitting. I mean, it wasn't like it was a perfect pitch, nor was it, not well struck, but or was it just flying off the bat? But he just poked it out there and dropped it into a spot where nobody had a
pitch at 74.7 and exit velo is 74.3.
Yeah.
We rarely see that close of a proximity between pitch
True.
and exit velo, but Matthew Maldonado delivered it. Brady Sehorn looked great. I've been really impressed with him. I mentioned in his first inning when Avery was in here, I think at this age, you kind of look for flashes of the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
You look for the ability to locate the fastball, and you look for how does the guy move. And for me right now, we've seen some misses. We've seen some glove side misses from Sehorn, but I think he checks a lot of boxes at this stage.
Definitely. And I think another thing that you're looking for is just how they handle themselves on the mound. Like if they give up a couple of hits, does it all just fall apart? And I think right now that, yes, he's given up his first hit and some guys have gone on base, but, I mean, right now he's holding his composure really well.
We'll see how he reacts with a runner at first in the form of, who stepped in? Did we see who came in as the pinch runner?
I'm not too sure. I think it was just a courtesy runner.
Courtesy runner for the catcher. Yep.
But I didn't see it.
All right, well, it is not Maldonado at first, though he resulted in that first hit. Joey Gonzalez at the plate now. Gonzalez ropes that one. That's going to foul on the front of the right fielder. Courtesy runner's taken off for third. Gonzalez is going to hold it first. Nice job just chopping that off in there and getting him an opposite field single.
Yeah, and he hit it pretty hard, too, to get opposite field like that, 84.5. He's a little bit late on it, but once again, I think it's just that passive approach that they're having right now at the plate. And like I talked about at the start of this inning, how are they going to bring runs across? And it seems like Georgia Jackets' way is in a patient base-to-base manner.
They got Max Lubker, the leadoff hitter out of DePaul Catholic, now steps in with runners at the corners. We've seen some explosiveness from this Georgia Jackets squad. They won 10-3 in their matchup this morning against Kane Southeast. And Sehorn's pitch gets away from the catcher, but runners will hold at third, and another will advance to second.
Yeah, really lucky bounce back off of that backstop there that got to the catcher really quickly.
Yeah, there's a lot of space here at LakePoint Sports between home plate and that backstop, so we see a lot of runs cross off wild pitches, but that one, a favorable bounce for Chicago White Sox ace. So it'll be runners at second and third now for Lubker. Shows bunt, gets that one down foul.
Yeah, he's going to want that one back. He stretched out a little too far for that one.
So the count is now 1-1. Little pressure now on Sehorn for the first time. He's thrown 44 pitches. 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Allowed his first hit. Or excuse me, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. 2 hits. I was looking over at Miles Rahm's line, the opposing pitcher for Georgia Jackets. He's got a couple walks, a couple strikeouts, but he has yet to allow a hit. We'll see if Chicago White Sox ace can change that. But meanwhile, Georgia Jackets looking to make something happen here with runners at the corners. Runners at second and third now. I forgot about that runner advancing. In 1 out. Leadoff hitter Lubker at the plate.
Now I'm kind of interested to see, obviously we saw the bottom of the lineup kind of bring some fire.
Yep.
Is the top of the lineup going to stay as aggressive as they were to start, or are they trying to follow suit with the rest of this squad that's kind of just put themselves on base?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just seeing them try to just keep the line moving because you saw their leadoff hitter put down a bunt. They're just trying to get that first run across the plate in what looks like it's going to be an absolute battle. Chicago White Sox ace lost 9-4 to 6-4-3 DP Tigers. That one into right field. That one's dropping down. Here comes one run for Georgia Jackets. Here comes a second run. Lupker's going to make his way into second. Nope, he is going all the way to third. Is Lupker going to hold? Lupker's going to take off for home. The throw is going to be way late, and Lupker's got himself a 2-run inside the park home run. And Georgia Jackets now have themselves a 3-0 lead here in the bottom of the third.
I mean, when I saw that ball drop, I knew it was going to be trouble, and it just slowly kept creeping all the way to the wall. And shout out to Lupker just putting it in fifth gear and just getting it done.
I'd love to know what happened. Did they lose the ball in the netting down at the because obviously we had the coverings there on the fence. Did it get caught down in there? Because it just seemed they were really slow to get that ball in. I thought he was going to stop at second. When he started going to third, I mean, there was just no stopping. And nice job by the leadoff hitter, Lupker there, man, making some magic happen. 3-run inside the park home run has Georgia Jackets up here in the bottom of the third inning.
It looked like Coach over there at third base was just waving him the whole time, and I don't even know if he believed it. As he was coming around third, I don't know if he was like, is my coach really telling me to go home right now?
I talked about the explosiveness of this Georgia Jackets lineup, and they have certainly showed it here in this inning to give themselves a 3-0 lead.
And they showed it in their last game, too. They had a couple of big innings that kind of propelled them to that big victory, and right now they're, like you said, showing it right now.
Forsyth Central's Parker Bullen now at the plate. He's got an 0-1 count. That one's in play. Shortstop has it, throws, and now there'll be 2 down. Miles Rahm steps in.
And so something I noticed when I was down at field level getting some photos in the first 2 innings is Rahm very similar to that of Trevor Condon from Meadow. You saw the little
if he jumps into the box, it's on.
He's also got the undershirt hoodie.
Yep. A rarity to see the undershirt hoodie, and I will get through that word at some point, on a pitcher.
Yeah,
you rarely
you don't
see
that
often on a pitcher.
But I got a feeling this guy's maybe seen some Trevor Condon before, because there's so many similarities, other than obviously hitting right hand.
Yeah, Alpharetta 2029. Watch a breaking ball turn the count to 0-2. Miss high out of the hands of Seahorn. Count now is going to be 1-2. Make that 1-1 as our box score at the top of the screen is reset. Seahorn miss to make it 2-1. I see a little Mike Musina out of Brady Seahorn.
I like that. That's one you don't expect to see out on these fields.
Yeah, I sincerely doubt that he's watched any Mike Musina footage, but
probably not.
I like the setup. Rahm sends that foul.
Let's see if he can just kind of get himself out of this spot here. I mean, kind of a clean slate now that all the runs have scored, no runners on the bases and 2 outs, but certainly a little bit shaken up after that last one.
Well, Rahm has to be excited as he's already got himself spotted a 3-0 lead as he potentially will take the mound again for another inning of work, see if he can make something happen at the plate as he has to bend his way out of the path of that baseball. Count is now going to be full at 3-2. It may not be a more exciting AB for a pitcher to step in and know you've got a 3-0 lead. You go back out for another inning.
See what he's got. See if he wants to give himself a longer break before he gets back out there or not.
Here comes the payoff pitch. Rahm rips that 81-7 off his bat. Third baseman cannot corral it, and Rahm will have himself a 2-out single. And courtesy runner getting ready to replace him. So we will see Rahm likely come out for another inning as he gets replaced by the courtesy runner. I think that's the same courtesy runner that just made his way around the bases for Maldonado, who delivered the first hit.
Did a good job.
Yeah, he sure did. Came through with the game's first run. Harrison Short, Kings Academy 2029 now at the plate. Went into this inning with no hits. Georgia Jackets has delivered 4 so far as they lead 3-0. Runner taken off.
Got him.
The throw, man, they got him at second, so that'll bring it into the inning as they get the courtesy runner trying to steal second. But Georgia Jackets have taken a 3-0 lead off of Luker's 3-run inside the park homer, and we'll be back from LakePoint Sports.
Next. Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one.
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete in all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf. Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
Welcome back. A 3-0 lead for Georgia Jackets after we saw an inside the park home run from Max Luker. We were going back watching the replays, trying to figure out in the moment whether or not the ball kind of got lost in the bottom of the netting for Georgia Jackets, for Chicago White Sox 8's outfielders. Didn't look like that. I mean, we just saw a clean inside the park home run, and hats off to Max Luker for just trucking around the base pass and helping to get his team a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, now Rom retakes the mound after an exciting inning. Certainly helps out his morale when he steps back out there and he knows that his offense got him 3 runs and he got himself a single.
He's got P.J. Hester at the plate now, and he will be followed by Sean Merrill, and then we'll get a look at Julian Nunez for the second time. Rom misses inside.
The interesting thing about Rom, it doesn't look like he's really moving too fast in that windup and then just kind of chucks it there at the end of his
It's almost a bit of
throw.
a slingshot,
Yeah.
right? It's the arm is not fully extended, at least upwardly where he's throwing. It's kind of keeping a little bit lower and almost like pushing through the baseball. But it has been effective so far. As you mentioned, he had yet to allow a hit. He's got 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and now going to allow himself his 3rd walk of the game, a leadoff walk here to Merrill, and now we're going to get a look. Excuse me, that was P.J. Hester. Sean Merrill now stepping in.
And I think that pitch right there is kind of a bit of a show with what can go wrong with the way he's throwing right now. He's done it a lot where he misses arm side and gets up and in on a guy and backs him off the plate. That's been kind of his primary miss. And I think it just has to do, that was a quick move there. It looks like it rolled away.
Runner's going to hold it first.
But I think because of the way he's kind of moving throughout that, if he releases early, it's going to go up and in on righty.
Ron playing catch with some teammates as he waits for word that he can continue. All right, again, Sean Merrill at the plate now. Runner at first is P.J. Hester. Starts off with ball 1 to Merrill.
Have a meeting.
And we'll see how much longer he can go. I mean, I think certainly with a 3-0 lead, again, he has yet to allow a hit, but he's 46 pitches into this. And he had a long layoff, so I think that we certainly have to bring that into the equation as well.
Yeah, when you're pitching as well as he was for those first 3 innings, it's almost helpful to have those short innings by your offense.
Just get back out there and get back to work.
Yeah, and I think that could be a big thing. So he kind of got checked out a little bit.
Another throw over to first. He doesn't want P.J. Hester to go anywhere.
Yeah, I think with a little bit of a slower runner in this lineup at the plate, you want to keep that double play intact.
Swing and a miss. Gets away from the catcher, but runner's going to hold it first. Yeah, the green Chicago White Sox Frank Thomas jersey there in the background. It's a good look. Couple days late for St. Patrick's Day, but love it nonetheless.
I don't know if I've ever seen a green White Sox jersey.
Yeah. I would assume that has to be like some kind of a spring training thing. Maybe one year they won.
I know they had hats this year. I was watching some games on St. Patrick's
Hester
Day.
taking off for second off the wild pitch. I'm of the mind that if you're going to do it, do the whole thing. Like, right? Like, it is honestly surprising that Major League Baseball doesn't have green versions of everyone's jerseys for them to wear on St. Patrick's Day because, spoiler alert, they'd make more money if they had those. But the fact that they only do the hats.
Yeah, I think that the idea is also like, why are we putting so much effort into a spring training thing?
Yeah. Well, if you blow it out though and have it be, a big St. Patrick's Day celebration.
Yeah.
Maybe that's ends up playing out. Going to hit him. Yeah, Rom's upset with himself after that. So a hit by pitch, White Sox not going to have runners at first and second.
Wasn't sure if maybe they were going to call that as leaning into that one, but I think it's just because the way he turned maybe.
All right, so Merrill now standing at first off the hit by pitch. Julian Nunez now at the plate. A walk and a hit by pitch, but Chicago White Sox ace still waiting for hit number 1. Could they get it here off the bat of Julian Nunez and eat into this 3-0 lead that Georgia Jackets built up?
Yeah, it's been kind of interesting to see in the bottom of the third, now in the top of the fourth, how these pitchers have done. You're a little bit later into your appearance, and it kind of seems like maybe things could slip away from Rom here as well.
It's in for a strike. I almost like Rom's delivery better out of the stretch from that arm slot.
I agree. And against the lefty. I think against the lefty it looks really good.
1-1 here to Nunez. Miss inside.
He is rather animated out there. You saw the kind of the reaction on the miss there. When he got that strikeout to end the inning in that first inning, he came off the mound yelling. I was down there at field level. I heard it.
In for a strike, makes it 2-2. Runners at first and second. Nobody out here in the inning. Still kind of cold in the shadows. You see some people bundled up there behind home plate, but the sun peeking out here and get a little bit warmer. Then swing and a miss. Rom's got himself his 3rd strikeout. He gets Nunez.
Yeah, and that right there is why I like his release against the left-handed hitters especially, is that it's, first of all, it's falling away to the right, and so that left-handed hitter is going to be a little bit more troubled by it, and that high and inside fastball that just drops into the zone, you force a lefty to swing at it hoping he can get his bat on it, and then it just drops out of the sky.
Judson Carter will step in now. Counts now 1-0 to start off this AB. Make that 2-0.
Are you surprised to see Chicago White Sox not as aggressive on the base pass? I mean, down 3, this game's been rolling through. You almost want to set yourself up for some opportunities.
Especially when you don't have a hit.
Yeah.
I mean, frankly, it's I will say this inning, though, they finally got themselves they had some base runners in the first inning. They weren't able to capitalize. You're getting some action on the base pass in this inning, but on the other side of that, you have a pitcher who, yes, he just struck Nunez out, has struggled with his location and control in this inning. So maybe they're being a little bit more patient just because they want to see if this guy can actually throw strikes in this inning.
Yeah, I do think Georgia Jackets have done a good job not letting things get to the backstop. That's been a big thing. Not too many pass balls coming through. Good pitch right there on 3-0. But Yeah, I think it's a little bit of the fact that he really hasn't gotten too errant, though he is a little bit around the zone. We'll just have to see how their stance kind of changes as we go.
Bases are now loaded off that walk to Judson Carter. Let's see how long of a leash he has here. Again, Georgia Jackets lead 3-0. There's one out in the inning.
We've already had a mound visit this inning, so if we get another, his day's over.
Santana Bibbs now at the plate. Bases loaded, nobody out. Bibbs, first pitch swinging, third baseman has it. He'll touch the bag, double play, and they are out of it.
Amazing.
Man, and you see Roms doing some absolute emotion stepping off the plate there. They get out of the bases loaded jam. Georgia Jackets continues to hold on to a 3-0 lead. We'll be back with more from March Madness.
So yeah, outrage is trending. Our feed's stirring us up, splitting us up. What if we came out from behind our walls and keyboards just for a sec and just go yard, front yard? Come out bagging, jumping, check on that Johnsonville feed. Let our individual flavors blend together. Yes, block nobody, block party. Keep it juicy.
Boogie woogie jam slam, bust the dialect, I'm the
Welcome back. We've got a 3-0 lead for Georgia Jackets over Chicago White Sox ace as Georgia Jackets got out of a bases-loaded jam thanks to a double play at third base. Nice job defensively there to get them out of some trouble, but see if they can build on that. Brady Sehorn returns for another inning of work for Chicago White Sox ace, and they will send to the plate Harrison Short, followed by Ethan Tinker and then Will Chapman.
Yeah. Interested to see how Sehorn bounces back. I'm honestly a little bit surprised he came back out on the mound, just because it did seem like he got a little bit shaken up in that last inning, but we'll see if he can reel things back in and ward off any more runs.
Next pitch will be his 58th. So White Sox did play a game right before this. They dropped that one 9-4 to 6-4 3DP Tigers. Both these teams in the midst of back-to-back games. Short reaches out, sends that one down the right side foul. AB will continue. It's kind of funny to watch because we talked about it still being a little cold in the shade there behind home plate, but there is a pocket of sun off to the side, and you see a pretty good crowd of people there, all enjoying the sunlight.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
Comes the 1-1.
Just kind of lost it.
Yeah, Sehorn lost a handle on that one. Count now going to be 2-1 here to Short.
I was about to say, it seemed like everybody looked at that ball and then turned around, assuming somebody else would grab it.
Yeah.
But our on-deck hitter got it.
Short, the Kings Academy 2029. Count now 3-1. We're having a little bit of issues here.
See what he's got here on 3-1.
A miss and a leadoff walk for Harrison Short. So I'll bring up Ethan Tinker, the Cambridge 2029, and thinking potentially that may be the end of the road for Sehorn. We'll see. He's allowed to continue. May just be a point of conversation here. Again, he's been awfully effective. It was just that last inning in which he got himself in some trouble, and certainly that 3-run inside the park home run from Lupker, that kind of a moment can shake a pitcher's confidence.
Definitely.
Not saying that's the case here with Seahorn, but got himself in trouble again here to start the fourth.
Yeah, and I think even more than just your confidence, you start maybe overanalyzing, what you're throwing and the locations you're putting it in, and that's just sometimes it can be a recipe for disaster.
Seahorn with another ball. That one a miss to start things off to Tinker. Here comes with the 1-0. Right down the pipe for strike one. We've just not seen a lot of aggressiveness on either side in terms of trying to move along the base pass via the steal. Oh, Seahorn just misses inside. It was a nice looking pitch, but count's not going to be 2-1.
I think he sold it a little bit jumping out of the box there. Definitely feels like now, even though we're not, getting a ton of hits in this game, it seems like guys are going deeper into these at-bats. And we're not seeing nearly as many early ground outs or maybe a quick strikeout here and there. It's been a lot of, getting to a 4, 5, 6 pitch at-bat.
Tinker swings through for strike two. Make that strike three. Nice job rebounding by Seahorn. He's got himself his second strikeout of the game.
And it will be the end of his day, though.
So that's it for Brady Seahorn as he gets the strikeout to end his day. And we'll be back to tell you a little bit more about the new arm for Chicago White Sox ace.
Grilling is an art. Don't forget to add sausage, Picasso. Keep it juicy.
Jump to the jam, boogie woogie jam slam, bust the dialect, I'm the man in command, come, flow with the sounds of the mighty.
And the new arm for Chicago White Sox ace is Julian Nunez, 5'8", 175-pound lefty. He's going to be facing Will Chapman. After that, it's Tex Leonard. And Charlie Blanchard. We're getting a little bit closer to Matthew Maldonado, who delivered the first hit of this game. And we had no hits going into the third inning. Then the Georgia Jackets result in 4 in the bottom of the third, getting themselves 3 runs. Of course, the big blow coming with that inside the park home run from Lupker. Chicago White Sox ace still hunting for their first hit. We'll see if they can deliver that when they get their chance in the 5th inning.
Looks like we're about ready to go.
All right, here we go. Nunez on the mound again. He's going to be facing off against Will Chapman.
Well, I guess White Sox ace was ready to go. There we are.
All right, Chapman, the Creekview 2028 steps in. All 6'3", 165 pounds of him.
I was about to say, he looks pretty tall stepping
Yeah.
in the box. 6'3" makes sense.
Starting at shooting guard today for Georgia Jackets. Runner at first. Chapman at the plate. Nunez with a miss for his first offering. Another miss. Count now 2-0.
You're just looking to kind of reel things back in here. Just put it over the plate right now. You still have that double play in order.
That's in for a strike.
It's a good pitch. Some little
Gets
pause
himself
there.
back into this count.
Using his lefty ability of making that runner stay at first base with the pause.
That one gets away from the catcher. Runner taken off for second.
I think that's where you need to be careful with it. You can tell that pitch kind of, once he started to commit towards home, it just didn't seem right and sent that one sailing over his catcher.
Well, he's certainly not going to do that hesitation with a runner at second base now.
Unless he has some Johnny Cueto in his
Well,
bag.
there you go. Bit of a labored delivery from Nunez. That's in for a strike, though. Count is now even now to Chapman. Here comes the payoff pitch from Nunez.
Not seeing much of a lead there at second.
No. So Chapman will walk. Now the awesomely named Tex Leonard steps in. Pose the same question to you that I posed to Avery Hunt. When is the last time that you saw someone named Tex?
I can't even think of one, I'll be honest.
Well, Tex Winters was who we went to, who was on staff with Phil Jackson for a really long time with the Chicago Bulls and Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was before I was really paying attention to.
He was kind of the man behind the man for the triangle offense
Gotcha.
that the Bulls and Lakers ran so effectively in all of Jackson's championships.
And then not so effectively with the Knicks.
Yeah.
That's the part that I remember, which is unfortunate.
That's sad. Yeah, you missed the good Phil Jackson stuff.
I've gone back, watched, what was it? Was it the 2008 finals? The Lakers won?
Yeah.
I think I've gone back and watched that one before.
It's the 1-1. Leonard skies that one, drops in front of the right fielder, but that's going to be trouble. Here comes a run for Georgia Jackets. Are they going to get another one? Everyone's going to hold at second and third as Tex Leonard's got himself an RBI double off a ball that just played a little bit too shallow in right field, bounces over top of his head, and Georgia Jackets now have a 4-0 lead.
Yeah, it seemed like we didn't really see the beginning of that play, but it seemed like he maybe overcommitted on it, thinking he could catch it, and then had to back off and just couldn't back off enough. It took kind of a sideways bounce, too, over his shoulder. Almost impossible to play for him out there in right field, but good work by Georgia Jackets capitalizing again on just being able to get around the base paths. Really.
Well, the right fielder may have a comment card for the LakePoint Sports ground crew on how it played off the bounce, but nonetheless, Tex Leonard's got himself an RBI, and Georgia Jackets have a 4-0 lead as Charlie Blanchard is now at the plate.
I think that complaint could be forwarded to Tex for putting that much spin on.
There you go, yeah.
Big swing and a miss right there.
Yeah, count now 0-2. Georgia Jackets hunting another big inning. They got 3 in their last AB. They've already got 1 here in the 4th. Ooh, nearly got away from the catcher, but he's able to stop that from going any further. Counts now 1-2 here to Blanchard.
Yeah, in this position, one of the biggest things you're trying to avoid is sending a ball past your catcher.
Healthy lead with Leonard to second. That one's going to be sent back foul. We're on the air here with you on Saturday. We'll be back on Monday. We're going to have the first full week of the spring break experience. So I'm bringing you some action on Monday morning in that one. Swing and a miss, and got himself his first strikeout as Nunez rebounds, but he's still got runners at second and third.
Yeah, the threat's not gone. That is for sure.
Yeah, Monday we'll be on air at 10 a.m. with one of our watch parties. We'll be bringing you 2 games at once. We'll have a DeMatha Catholic from Maryland versus Alabama's Moody High School, and then MICDS, that's Mary Institute in St. Louis Country Day School, out of Missouri against Kentucky's Paintsville High. So you'll be able, of course, to once again find us on Facebook's X and YouTube.
A little fun fact about MICDS, the alma mater of Joe Buck.
Oh, nice. Well, that one's fouled off his leg. Matthew Maldonado resulted in the first hit of this game in his last trip to the plate.
Be a great thing to do to repeat that performance right here. A single in the center field would potentially score 2 runs.
Well, he's got an 0-2 count right now, 2 down. One's going to miss high. Yeah, excited about that spring break experience because it's a little bit of a nice break, figuratively and literally,
Yes.
as we're able to bring you some high school action during the week, and it'll be the first of a couple weeks that we'll be able to do that because we'll have next week spring break experience, a week after that another spring break experience, and then that week ends with the Battle for Bartow, which we're going to have what may be one of the most highly anticipated games in the state of Georgia between Etowah, which Prep Baseball has number 3 in their national rankings, against Houston County. Coming up, an absolute powerhouse matchup on next Friday, or 2 weeks, be the Friday the 4th at noon. So make sure you check that one out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we'll have I believe we're planning to do a Thursday broadcast as well when we've got kind of everybody playing in that first window on that Thursday. So a lot of baseball to be watching here. Make sure you're tuned in.
In this one, we've got a 4-0 lead for Georgia Jackets. 2-2 is the count to Maldonado. Runners at second and third. Puts that one in play. Third baseman crashing, but the pitcher has it, and that'll bring it into the inning as Nunez steps in and is able to get himself a strikeout and a pop-out to end the inning. But Georgia Jackets have taken a 4-0 lead. We'll be back with more from March Madness.
First one I picked up, I just liked it the best. And like I said, I tried a lot of different companies, a lot of different models, and I fell in love with Old Hickory for sure.
Miles Rahm's time continues on the mound for Georgia Jackets, who lead 4-0 here against Chicago White Sox ace in the top of the 5th inning. Savion Cisney will lead things off for Chicago White Sox ace. He'll be followed by Mateo Blakes and then Julian Dominguez. 60 pitches so far for Miles Rahm. No runs. Big 0 in the hits column right now for Chicago White Sox ace. Cisney out to kind of change that. He swings through that. Rahm has been awfully effective so far. Got himself into some trouble early on. He's allowed 3 walks. Cisney ropes that into left field and off the glove of the third baseman.
We'll see if they call that an error.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what the ruling is on that, whether or not that resulted in the first hit for Chicago White Sox ace. But nonetheless, they've got Cisney at first base to start things off here in the 5th.
I already got the update.
Yeah, and that is all right. It will be a hit. So Miles Roms exits after giving up his first hit. We'll see who the new pitcher is for Georgia Jackets. So we just got back, but we're going to take another quick break. We'll be back for March Madness.
Where is it written? Only grill burgers? Nowhere. That's where. Now throw on some sausage. And keep it juicy.
Boogie woogie jam slam, bust the dialect. I'm the man in command. Come flow with the sounds of the mighty mic.
Back, and Max Lubker is now on the mound for Georgia Jackets after Miles Rom exits following giving up the first hit of the game. I think we were waiting to see the ruling on that one as the ball hit off the third baseman's glove and went into left field, but it was the first hit for Chicago White Sox ace, and this one is going to drop down. Now they've got 2 hits. Runners taken off for second base. Will they hold at third? That one's into the corner. Is he going to hold? No, taken off for third. We're going to have a late throw to the plate. And now we've got ourselves an RBI triple for Chicago White Sox aces. Dominguez comes through with the RBI.
That's absolutely massive. You saw it kind of got misplayed out there in right field. It looked like he didn't pick it up off the bounce off the wall, and that allowed that run to score in time. But huge moment here to start the 5th inning, especially after the pitching change.
Apologies, that was Mateo Blakes that came through with the RBI triple. Very quick start here as they're jumping all over Lubker. That one's popped into the glove of the second baseman on the run, but Mateo Blakes will hold at third. But Chicago White Sox ace got themselves back-to-back hits. Now they've got themselves in business here in the 5th.
You definitely want to slow your roll here. Maybe don't be too aggressive. You don't want to get quick outs. You still want to score that run in from third.
Jimmer Hayes now steps in. 1 down in the inning. 1 run for Chicago White Sox ace. Runner at third, the form of Blakes, who delivered that RBI triple. Gets the bunt down. Lubker has it, glances back at the runner, throws to first, but it's not going to be in time. Is able to cause enough havoc down there between third and home. Mateo Blakes did, and allowed the runner to reach first, and now got him at the corners with 1 out.
Yeah, obviously that's not the desired outcome necessarily for that bunt, but you still just kind of got the pitcher thinking a lot. And your runner at third didn't really commit hard, so you didn't really hurt yourselves at all, and now you got runners at the corners.
Now leadoff hitter Del Savo the third steps in. Delville De Savo the third.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Fantastic name without question. He's going to try to make something happen here with runners at the corners. See how aggressive Chicago White Sox ace gets on the base pass. Would be really surprised if they didn't end up taking second base in this AB, but we'll see.
You really want to. You got to avoid that double play potential.
Jimmer Hayes standing at first base. Mateo Blakes at third. Dribbler, shortstop has it. Throws in time. We're going to get it. Oh, it came off the bag, man. Georgia Jackets have allowed a second run. DeSavo is now standing at first base. Runner at second.
Yeah, he came off the base. So he was called safe there at first. You just can't see him right now.
Still just 1 down. P.J. Hester at the plate now. Lead has been cut in half. Miss high out of the hands of Lupker. Things have gotten interesting here in the 5th inning without question.
And now we just have to see if White Sox Ace can keep it rolling here. They've had no issue seeing Lupker on the mound.
Nice breaking ball out of the hands of Lupker. Count now even at 1-1. Hester 0 for 2. Trying to change that. To charge into that one. 87.1 off his bat. Hauled in by the left fielder. Everyone will retreat. Nice struck ball by P.J. Hester, but unfortunately into the glove of the left fielder, but 87.4 off his bat.
Yeah, I thought for a second we might have some potential for something maybe off the wall or over the wall, but well played out there in the outfield, and they get that second out.
Sean Merrill's turn now. White Sox ace has produced 2 runs in this inning, one off of an RBI triple from Mateo Blakes. Third baseman gathers that one, but it will be foul.
I believe that's Rom who's moved over to third base since exiting.
Did the hood give it away?
Yeah,
okay.
That was kind of the main thing.
All right, counts 0-1 here to Merrill. Gets away from the catcher. Both runners will advance, so White Sox will have them at second and third with 2 down. This game has been turned on its head the last couple innings.
We were tracking for what was going to be a very quick day here, and everything kind of got turned on its head.
Merrill shot to Rom, throws across the diamond, and they get him. What in the world? So he apparently wasn't on first base when he fielded that ball.
No,
and
he
then
went to tag him. I'm just.
All right, so we're gonna have a conference here as they try to sort this thing out.
I think the conversation, whether he missed the tag or not, I don't think either of them had the angle for it. But
did the runner come out of the base pass and trying to avoid the tag? If he did, we've got a 4-3 game. If he didn't, we've got a 4-2 game where we're heading on to the bottom of the 5th inning with Georgia Jackets coming to the plate. See what the ruling here is.
The other thing is that he still didn't have to tag him. He just had to touch the base.
Yeah, just had to touch the bag. So it seems odd that he was able to do that. He's going to be safe. Wow. So, man. All right, so things have gotten really dicey here for Georgia Jackets in this inning. They went into it with a 4-0 lead. Chicago White Sox ace has produced 3 runs in this inning. This will continue now with Julian Nunez, who came in as the relief pitcher in the last inning and got himself a chance to help himself out here with 2 down in the 5th.
Chicago White Sox ace just marching right back into this.
And they are seeing Lupker really well.
Yeah.
They weren't able to put a lot of balls into play against Rom. He allowed just 1 hit, that bringing an end to his day here in the 5th. But they have certainly had some success against Lupker, and so far have got themselves 3 runs off of 4 hits with him on the mound.
Yeah, now I'm interested to see how it keeps going. You're 2 outs now, so anything could get you out of this.
The 1-0 swings through that one, count now even. So the runner at first that reached off of the swim move to get away from the tag is now advanced to second.
You don't see that often, that's for sure.
83-3 off his bat. Shortstop has it, but he can't make a play. We've now got a tie ball game. Man, this has gotten absolutely dicey. Nunez comes through with an RBI single, and things are all evened up here in the top of the 5th.
Yeah, it's super tough to play there at short, kind of obstructed by the runner, and then you're starting to think, oh, well, I've got no chance turning around and standing up and making that play to first base, so you look over at third, but he bobbled it in the midst.
Judson Carter now at the plate. What a day for Max Lupker. You deliver the 3-run inside the park home run, come in relief in a game in which your team has allowed just 1 hit, and now you're standing here with a 4-4 ball game with 2 outs in the 5th inning. The throw down, the shortstop tries to cut it off. That was nearly a lot of trouble for Georgia
Yeah.
Jackets if he wasn't able to bring that down.
Not sure how I feel about trying to run that play in this particular moment.
All right, we got a 1-0 count. Judson Carter at the plate. The play at first in which we saw the runner avoid the tag takes me back to that Javier Baez play where he got hung up between first and home and allowed a run to score. And you know, everyone's thinking, all you got to do is touch the bag. Carter with the dribbler to third. Rom throws across the diamond, another high throw, but that time they do get in. But we've got a tie ball game. 4-4 as we move along to the bottom of the 5th inning. Things have gotten really exciting. You're watching March Madness from LakePoint Sports.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, you'll always find more fun with great brands at the best prices. More of this, and this. So you can get together for a little of that, and a lot more of that. And even some of that, and that's good. Have more fun with great brands at the best prices. Only at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
New ball game all tied up at 4-4 as we sit in the bottom of the 5th inning. This pool play action from March Madness. Cory, McCartney, Grayson, Rosen with you. Joey Gonzalez will lead things off for Georgia Jackets, and then it'll be leadoff hitter Max Lupker and Parker Booland.
Georgia Jackets definitely in an odd spot now. It seemed like you had all the momentum in the world. You guys were holding on to a big lead, and then all of a sudden just the rug gets pulled on you. Now it's up to how they handle themselves from here.
No one wants to make something happen more than the guy standing in the on-deck circle right now, because Max Lupker delivered, of course, the 3-run inside the park home run. Looked like he had an absolute vice grip on our player of the game for this one. And then he comes in relief in the top of this inning after Miles Rahm gave up his first hit. Allows Chicago White Sox ace to get 4 runs and even this thing's up. So you know he is itching to get up there and make something happen as he follows Joey Gonzalez in the order.
Yeah, it's a really tough spot to be in, but I think for this entire Georgia Jackets lineup, don't let that inning define you.
Yep.
Don't let that inning bring you down and stop this offense from rolling.
Well, we knew a team that scored 9 runs in their game before this was not going to go quietly, as we were through 3 innings with no runs and no hits on either side, but things have certainly gotten really interesting these last couple innings. We'll see if this is just going to be a conference with Nunez or whether or not this is going to be another pitching change.
It looks like they're just going to talk about a couple things.
Yeah, calling over the shortstop, Delville DeSavo III. Again, here is Max Lupker stepping in at the plate. 1 for 2, those 3 RBI that we mentioned off that inside the park home run. A day of highs and lows without question for him, but how many times do we say that? That's baseball.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's how it goes. You know, another RBI hit here, and maybe his day is saved.
Nunez misses to start things off against the lefty. Again, after that, it's Parker Booland. Another miss inside, count now 2-0. First lefty-lefty matchup that we've seen for Nunez. Down the middle for a strike. The count is now 2-1.
Definitely trying to avoid that runner advancing as well. So got to be in the back of your mind that you don't want to send this past your catcher.
Nunez steps off again. You got Joey Gonzalez standing at first base right now off the leadoff walk. 2-1 is the count here to Lupker. Sends that one down the first base side foul, so count now going to be even at 2-2.
One thing we should mention is that we are getting up against the clock a little bit here.
Yep.
So if Georgia Jackets does put a run up on the board, if they hold on to that time, they might find themselves not even giving Chicago White Sox a chance to answer.
Well, we do play ties in pool play, so that is certainly on the table, sitting here 4-4 in the 5th with time being an issue. We don't like ties,
no.
But we do play ties. Lupker goes down on strikes.
He fouled it off, but into the glove of the catcher.
All right, so now going to be 1 down. Coming back out again, so that's going to be the end of the day for Julian Nunez as he gets Lupker. Have a new arm on the mound, and that's going to be Delvo DeSavo III. We're going to take a quick break here from LakePoint Sports. We'll be back as we get another look at this new arm for Chicago White Sox ace.
We're here at LakePoint Sports, the site of the first curve test center. There will be lots of curve test centers, but this will always be the first. And why are we here? Here for a couple of reasons. One is if you think about the effort players are spending trying to get coaches to notice them, the effort coaches are spending trying to figure out who's actually any good, the poor parents who are sitting there saying, where's my kid headed? This is the answer for all that.
Everyone wants to be seen, right? Sometimes what can be seen is data. So it's hard to get in front of coaches at all these programs at once, or even the school you really want to go to. So using data helps us a ton. And as long as it's reliable and there's something that can give us better information with the small sample size is what we're looking for.
Curve Test Center is redefining player and performance data when it comes to evaluation and recruiting. Test your athletic, cognitive, and baseball skills with TrackMan, Proteus, and more. Visit at the Bubble or sign up now at curvetestcenter.com. Don't miss your chance to level up your game. And we are back now. First pitch from Delvo DeSavo III was in for a strike. You missed it, but we did not. Count is now 0-1. He's got
I
Parker
believe it
Bruin at
actually
the
was
plate.
a ball.
Right.
They
Well,
just
switched it
updated the
over.
scoreboard
All right,
for you.
Then we all missed it. The count's now 2-0 as DeSavo misses inside. You always like to see a guy when he comes in from shortstop in particular to see what he's going to look like on the mound, because you know the arm can play. It's just, what does he have secondary stuff, and then can he consistently throw strikes? You know the arm strength isn't a question. You know the guy's athletic, but what does he have from a consistency standpoint stepping in from that position on the field to the mound?
Yeah, and then also a really difficult thing is that he just didn't warm up.
Yeah.
It is huge, and I think right there you see him free pass to start things off on 4 straight pitches, so he's still kind of getting himself warmed up right now.
So a walk to Bouland, his first of the game, and Miles Rahm, who was the starting pitcher for Georgia Jackets, is now going to step in as he draws into the turf here, which we know is a futile endeavor, but he's got runners at first and second with 1 out here in the 5th. Georgia Jackets trying to create some magic after they watched a 4-0 lead evaporate in the top of the inning. Got about 4 minutes of game time left, so not saying there's going to be any gamesmanship from the Georgia Jackets side, but everybody can see that clock just as we can here within the broadcast studio. Everyone's well aware there are just moments left in this game, and Georgia Jackets being the home team, they have the ability to absolutely set the pace here as they try to work a walk-off win here in the 5th. Savo misses to Rahm.
You almost wonder in this situation, do you bring in a pinch runner to put at second base? You're your fastest guy on the bench right now.
Yeah, I mean, but they've done, obviously, you know, they've worked that a couple times. They've brought in courtesy runners for their catchers and pitchers, seemingly brought in the same runner for both roles. We saw Maldonado go all the way around. That one's going to be in play. The new shortstop has it. He throws to first for one side. Cannot get it to first. Uh-oh, the wild throw is going to mean a run for Georgia Jackets and a runner at second base. Man, a absolute heartbreaking moment there for Georgia Jackets as Rahm is going to be standing at second base, and the errant throw to first results in a run that gives Georgia Jackets a 5-4 lead.
And we would have had 2 minutes still left on the clock, so if they would have gotten that second out of the double play, Chicago White Sox ace could be coming up to hit again.
Tough moment. We talk about a shortstop going into pitch, but a new guy having to play shortstop who's not had to play that position the whole game, and the very first time that you are asked to throw the baseball to first base, and in that case, P.J. Hester, it was an errant throw, and that was a lot to ask in that moment, trying to get the double play going.
A big moment right there, though, to step up for Georgia Jackets and make something happen.
Harrison Short now steps in. His team, Georgia Jackets, now have a 5-4 advantage here in the 5th. It's been a wild game. Started off with no runs, no hits through 3 innings. Harrison Short sends that one into right. Does he have a play on it? He cannot. That one's going to bounce all the way to the wall. Harrison Short's got himself an RBI double. Nope, he is not holding for second. Harrison Short making his way to third base, and he's got himself another run for Georgia Jackets and a stand-up triple to cap his day.
And we talked about how this offense can get explosive. They did it in their last game. They've done it in this game, and they bring it out one more time to cap things off here in the bottom of the 5th and likely secure themselves a win here as the clock winds down.
Yeah, 2 minutes remaining on the clock. You saw Blue glance back at our scoreboard where that game clock is located.
I think our infield umpire just checked the time.
Yeah, he just did.
He's confirmed with both coaches.
Ethan Tinker now at the plate for Georgia Jackets, and that's going to be it. And man, what an absolute wild one. We're going to recap this and talk player of the game. We'll be back. A 6-4 win for Georgia Jackets over Chicago White Sox ace in pool play action for March Madness. We'll be back from LakePoint Sports.
Next. Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one.
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete and all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf.
Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
So yeah, outrage is trending. Our feed's stirring us up, splitting us up. What if we came out from behind our walls and keyboards just for a sec and just go yard, front yard? Come out bagging, jumping, check on that Johnsonville feed. Let our individual flavors blend together. Yes, block nobody, block party. Keep it juicy.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Welcome back to LakePoint Sports. 6-4 win for Georgia Jackets over Chicago White Sox Ace in pool play action from March Madness, our game of the day here from the Baseball Village. And Grayson, March Madness, at least the college basketball version of it, is defined by drama. We absolutely had some drama today in this one. And what a wild turn of events, because through 3 innings of this game, no runs, no hits on either side. We see Georgia Jackets take control in the bottom of the 3rd inning as Max Luker comes through with a 3-run inside the park home run. And then in the 4th inning, the 5th inning, he comes through in relief after Miles Rahm gives up the first hit of the game, and he gives up 4 runs, and we've got a game that ends up having to end on, of all people, Miles Rahm, that pitcher for Georgia Jackets who started the game, getting on second base off an errant throw as they tried to turn a double play that results in the final run of this game, and this was just, in a word, crazy.
Yes, it was unreal. Like you said, started off it seemed like no offense. It was a pitching duel to start, and then the floodgates open for Georgia Jackets, and then things start rolling. Seems like they're holding on to the lead just fine. We get the late surge from Chicago White Sox Ace after that pitching change. And then once again, it comes down to another late moment, another late offensive explosion from Georgia Jackets where they were just seeing the pitching really well in that last inning. And it comes down to it. And shout out to Short for the triple to just kind of be the cherry on top there.
A lot of times in these games, we talk about 2 things in particular. Guys who maybe are a starting pitcher and they get thrust into action late in the game and maybe things don't go their way on the mound. The other thing is guys having to replace whoever became the next pitcher and being out of position. I think we saw both those 2 things play out because Miles Rahm starts things off for Georgia Jackets again. He does not allow a hit until the 5th inning. Then you have Max Luker, who had been in the outfield. He steps in. He's maybe out of rhythm a little bit because it's just an interesting situation he's stepping into, and he ends up running into some trouble, and Chicago White Sox Ace able to get back into this game. In the last inning, there's a pitching change for Chicago White Sox Ace, and they end up going to DeSavo III as a relief pitcher, moving him from shortstop. And the new shortstop ends up making an errant throw, trying to turn a double play. It's just an unfortunate turn of events for both sides, but it ultimately plays into the fact that you got to be able to be versatile, and sometimes when you get put in a new position, it's tough to just immediately be great at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the give and take of taking a guy out of his spot in the infield or in the outfield, and it certainly was extremely costly for both sides at times, but I guess more costly in the end for Chicago White Sox Ace.
We turn our attention to player of the game in this one, and I mentioned Max Luker ran into some trouble when he came in relief, ends up allowing 5 hits. He gave up 2 earned runs, 3 runs in all. But what he did at the plate in this game, delivered the defining moment with a 3-run inside the park home run that looked like maybe he was going to stop at second. And then by the time he got to third, there was no stopping him as he made his way all the way home.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable hit, and it just kept rolling out there to the wall. And then it almost seemed like he was in disbelief that his third base coach was waving him home. And, like, we saw him kind of slow down, and then, no, he had to turn it back up, and he makes it there home safely with the 3-run home run. And I think it was so huge. Obviously, they're not in this game without those 3 runs early in this, so that was big, especially to break what was a 0-0 ball game at the time.
Yeah, we always we talk about the highs and the lows, the give and the take of the game of baseball. Mask Luker's day certainly played that out, but he delivered the unequivocal defining moment of this game, that 3-run inside the park home run that propelled Georgia Jackets to a 6-4 win over Chicago White Sox ace. That'll do it for this broadcast. Make sure, again, you join us on Monday as we're going to have coverage of the first full week of Prep Baseball Spring Break Experience. So at 10 a.m., we're going to have a watch party. We'll have 2 games going on for you at once. We'll have DeMatha Catholic for Maryland versus Alabama's Moody High School, and then MICDS, that's again the Mary Institute and St. Louis Country Day School from Missouri against Kentucky's Paintsville High. So you'll be able to find us on Facebook, X, and YouTube for all that action. So again, 10 a.m. on Monday, so make sure you join us for that one. Should be a lot of fun. So until next time, for Avery Hunt, Grayson Rosen, and producer Jack McCartney, I'm Cory McCartney, and we're signing off from LakePoint Sports.